more right now at Woody Anderson Ford. Corner of Jordan Lane and Sparkman Drive. Hope to see you soon.
They should be clearing on that accident at Wall, Triana, and McCrary. That was our last reported accident. Traffic level heavy all across the valley. You be careful as you make the rest of your journey in this morning. Snelling needs an experienced shipper, a QA specialist, and production associates for South Huntsville. Direct hire positions with great benefits. 256-382-4000. Captain Nick in the North Parkway, Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
256-576-4977.
Hold it, hold it!
That's 256-576-4977.
This is Eli Gold, voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide. Now more of Talkin Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond on your home for Crimson Tide Sports 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Roll Tide.
And welcome back to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone, 8:28 on this Tuesday morning, 74 degrees. Safe travels into work, into school if you're still headed that way on this Tuesday morning. And Alabama's headed the Gainesville way as they'll get ready to take on the Florida Gators Saturday. I believe that's a 2:30 kick.
Yep, 3:30
the
Eastern,
CBS game. Yeah.
Yep.
So Alabama's first true road test. A lot of people have circled this game on the calendar because there are some people that say, well, Alabama's going to lose one or twice this year at the beginning of the year. And possible one of those ones was the trip to Gainesville because it's the rematch of the SEC championship. We all know how well Florida played in that one. A lot of people were anticipating this being one of those stumbling blocks for Alabama.
Yeah, they have. They've definitely been pointing to this game as the first real test. Alabama with a lot of young talent on offense, but inexperienced. First true road game for Bryce Young. Florida, though, lost a lot of talent themselves. Had one of the best offenses in the country. Probably Alabama and Florida, the two best offenses in America last year. Kyle Trask, what a story he was. Unbelievable. Kadarius Toney. Of course, Kyle Pitts, who probably was the best tight end in the last 20 years in college football. But it was just a great football team. Trevon Grimes, and a great matchup in the SEC championship game. Really was probably the national championship game, if you want to really, admit it. But our next guest is one of the best there is to the Florida Gators. It was great to be on his podcast this Sunday, and of course you can check that out. He has a new podcast, also the Gator Blitz, which is a daily radio program for him as well. He's had that for many, many years. And, of course, we are talking about Mark McLeod, and he is with us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Mark, welcome back to Huntsville. You're with Drew and Scott. How are you this morning?
Hey, doing well, guys. Good morning. Good to be on with you.
Yeah, it's always great to be on with you. And I guess my first question for you, Florida-wise, as we've gone through 2 weeks, they got the expected results we thought against Florida Atlantic, of course, and then USF. But we're going to start off offensively. What's been I guess we don't see a lot of true two-quarterback systems. We saw Steve Spurrier do this at Florida during his heyday, but we don't see true rotations. We've seen that in a way at Florida so far. What is your thoughts right now on the quarterback situation with the Gators and Emory Jones and Anthony Richardson?
Yeah, and Drew, the answer to that question is simple because Florida wouldn't have a two-quarterback system if Emory Jones were able to get through a game without making some really significant mistakes, particularly in the red zone, that are interceptions and go the other way. So that's been a big problem for Florida. The running game has been fine, albeit it's been against Florida Atlantic and USF, in my opinion, two of the worst defensive fronts I've seen in a few years. So, take that with a grain of salt. Florida's looked very good running the ball against them. It's going to be a different animal this weekend. But, outside of that, you've got Billy Gonzalez really working to try and develop receivers. He's sent 7 guys the last 2 years to the National Football League. So it's kind of a group that next man up syndrome, I guess, for Florida wide receiver. You don't replace a Kyle Pitts, and Florida really hasn't even gotten a ball to a wide receiver as of yet, or a tight end, I'm sorry. But then the running back room looks great. The problem has been Emory Jones, and it's been very his play has been very erratic.
How much of this, though, Mark, is the fact that we expected to see a little of this from Florida with everything that they lost last year offensively? I mean, these are the growing pains that we anticipated, right?
Yes and no. I know your point, and I think you're right. But with regards to Emory Jones, I mean, he's a redshirt junior.
Yeah,
he's been around the program for a while. The mistakes he's making, Scott, are you got to be kidding me. He's locked on to a receiver. He's throwing the ball so late. The DBs are getting the break on the ball. It's just a bad look all the way around. And these are things that you would expect from a freshman or redshirt freshman or even a sophomore. But a guy that's a redshirt junior that has had as much practice time with Dan Mullen over the past few years as Jones has, I think it's very concerning.
And Anthony Richton came in. I know when he was signed and he came in last year, I know a lot of people were excited about his raw tools and his size and his ability to run the football, but also his ability as a passer. And in the limited opportunities he's gotten, Mark, he's made a tremendous impact in big plays. But there also is some uncertainty going into this week. We saw on that 80-yard touchdown run against USF, he suffered a pulled hamstring. I know you have as good a sources as anyone. What is his availability? Is there any question about it coming up for Saturday?
I think there could be a question. Again, Dan Mullen's not saying a whole lot.
Yeah,
they want to keep everything tight. Play it close to the vest. That's the Dan Mullen way. But everything I've heard is that there's a good chance this kid's going to play this weekend. That it was a hamstring that he's receiving treatment. And, again, the thing with him, this kid has the it factor.
Right.
He really does. He has that it factor. Dan Mullen said, look, he's not making some good decisions when he's out there, but he turns around and takes the play that's kind of a broken play then and runs it for a touchdown. So, you'd much rather have that than the guy throwing an interception.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, obviously, Alabama comes in defensively playing very well. How scared are you for this Florida offense, and how much are you concerned that they might have a rough day of moving the ball Saturday?
Very scared. I tell you, watching that Alabama defensive front in these two games, I'm looking at this. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, that is the best defensive front I've seen at Alabama in a few years. I mean, those guys can flat play. And look, this Florida offensive line, I really think this is a game changer for those guys. I don't know if those guys are ready for this task. Particularly, look, Florida is essentially one-dimensional right now. They run the football. The quarterbacks can run the football very well. We have a phenomenal look this weekend at quarterback between Florida and Alabama. If you just want to look at a sheer athlete playing quarterback with some guys that can have big arms, that's for sure. But I'll tell you, I just don't know, Scott, about this offensive line. This is going to be the big test that everybody's been waiting for. And honestly, Scott, it's on John Hevesy. 8 of Florida's offensive linemen have been in this program at least 3 years. That should be enough to get competition, to get people pushing each other. And honestly, when we talked to him a few weeks ago before the season began, he said probably 8, certainly 7 guys that he feels like he could depend on.
Wow.
Well, and then what about the availability? I was told that Gene DeLance has suffered some sort of knee injury in the game against USF, because I didn't see the entire game. Of course, I watched the highlights, but what is his availability? Is he going to – because I would think if you lose a guy with that experience at right tackle against Alabama, it would be an issue.
Yeah, you would think so. He struggled all last year. He really did. But he's so athletic. John Hevesy loves him because of his athleticism. Remember, this kid was a 4-star coming out of All-American at the Under Armour All-American game coming out of Texas. But he just hasn't lived up to the billing. And, I think they got a little bit of weight off him. He's down now to about 305, 310. And he's moving much better. He's healthy this year, but now, as you said, Drew, here comes the injury. So that may mean Michael Tarquin, who's a redshirt sophomore, a kid that was highly recruited down in the Ocala area, is probably going to be the guy stepping in.
Interesting.
How important is this game for Todd Grantham?
Great question. Huge. Huge. It really is, because if Alabama just runs up and down the field, they just do what Bama does, do what Bama did in the SEC championship game against Florida, it's going to be a bad look, because I'll tell you, this defensive front for Florida is very good. They're going to be very good.
Okay.
And, you've got your addition in Truesdell. The problem for Florida right now, guys, is on the back end. You've got Trey Dean as a senior safety. Everybody else, well, you got 2 sophomores and everybody else are freshmen. That's a young group back there that is really a work in progress. The problem, Kier Elam at one corner, on the opposite side, Florida has not been able to find an answer. Anybody who's watched Florida has watched opposing quarterbacks just target whoever's opposite Elam, and they've had a lot of success. So hopefully Todd Grantham learned his lesson, because I'm kind of sitting there thinking to myself, why in the world isn't Jadarius Perkins, the transfer from Missouri, out there? Finally, he got him in against USF and got significant playing time, and he looked pretty good. So that's who I would expect to be out there against Alabama this Saturday.
And I'm glad you brought up Truesdell. He was a very late addition. They also got Daquan Newkirk and the transfer from Penn State. How has those guys? What kind of impact have they had early in the first couple of games on that front? Because it's going to be a big key in the game. I think this is going to kind of be an old school deal. The winner of this game is going to be who wins the turnover battle and who can run the football. Because Alabama's been good, not great, running the football. Florida's been really good, but it's who they've played. But how do you see that? What has been the impact of those transfers, and how do you see that kind of them matching up against a retooled Alabama offensive line?
It's been a good fit right now, and I think overall you're seeing those guys kind of get together, and things look like they're getting better for them. They're getting more comfortable working together, because remember, they only had last spring. That was it.
Right.
And then August. And so they're learning a lot about each other. But I think the biggest take from that, Drew, is it's allowed Florida to take Zach Carter and move him to his more natural position at strong side defensive end. Mm-hmm. And he was SEC Player of the Week in Game 1. He had another good week last week. So, last year, if you remember, Florida had to play him inside. Several games he played inside, and it just didn't look as good. He was effective at times, but he's more natural, strong side defensive end. And then, obviously, it's allowed Florida to flex Jeremiah Moon a little bit. We've seen Jeremiah Moon, who's 6'5.5" and kind of a freakish athlete, not only play DN, but it's moved him back to the linebacker and do some other things. So I think it's really helped that defensive front.
Want to ask you about Dan Mullen real fast, because last year he flirted with the NFL.
Yeah.
USC comes open, and obviously we're just going to throw names on the wall right now because it's the coaching searching carousel. How committed is Dan Mullen to Florida, do you think?
I think he's pretty committed, I think. And, it's hard to get a gauge on Mullen because, honestly, Mullen's kind of about Mullen. He really is. I mean, he does have that about him. And, he's not going to say a whole lot. He's not going to like yesterday he was asked about Nick Saban in Alabama, and he said, well, I think he's done a good job. He's done a good job. Are you kidding me? He's done a fabulous job. What are you talking about? He's the GOAT. I think you spelled good wrong, Dan. It's GOAT. But yeah, that's Dan Mullen. You never know what's going on, and I think he'll certainly use the USC situation to his advantage, as a lot of coaches or certainly agents would. But I don't know. You never know with Dan Mullen, and there's, of course he kind of denied the NFL thing, and so I don't know. That's a question that I really can't answer.
Well, I do think he's a good fit for Florida. I've always felt like offensive coaches have done the best job there. We know what Spurrier did. We know what Urban did, and now Dan Mullen has I think, righted the ship there. He's making great money. I know SC is probably a bigger national brand, but Florida's the better program. Florida's in the best league in the country, and Florida is in the middle of a recruiting hotbed. So I think Dan's a good fit there. I think he would be crazy to leave, but we will see. But, Mark, to go back to it, you've told us about this front seven. Brenton Cox also part of that for Florida. They're going to have to pressure Bryce Young. Alabama's offensive line has looked okay, but there's been some, right tackles kind of suspect, just like with Florida. It's kind of interesting. In your mind, what does Florida need to do to have a chance to win this game on Saturday afternoon in the Swamp?
It's interesting because without Kyle Pitts and Kadarius Toney, the big playability of Florida has been Anthony Richardson.
Mm-hmm. And Jacob Copeland's done a nice job with Richardson as well,
Yeah, he did come in this past weekend and got some catches, you're right. So I think the development there, but I think Florida has to, number one, take care of the football. They've not done a good job in 2 games of that. They've got to be explosive and hit on some explosive plays. And I think there's got to be a little balance there, Drew. I really do, between the run game and the passing game. And again, Emory Jones cannot get caught looking around or delivering the ball late, or those Alabama DBs are going to eat them up. I think Bama already has 4 picks on the year. Mm-hmm. And if he does that, it could be a long day for the Gators.
Yeah, I agree. If they turn the ball over against Alabama, it's going to be a long afternoon. And Jake Crain, which is on with us earlier in this hour, he thinks this is, much as we've talked about in our conversation with you, a day of reckoning for Todd Grantham. He thinks Grantham is in his final year in Gainesville, and if this doesn't go well, he's really going to be on the clock. So I would think right now, and then Pete Golding, there's always been, even though Alabama's played really well early, there's always been some consternation there. But it's going to be interesting to see which defense plays better, because I do think the defenses are the strength of both of these teams. And in Alabama, they have largely been untested because the Miami game was over. So was Mercer. So going to be interesting to see how they match up here with the Gators and if they can stop the run. Because if they can make Florida one-dimensional, Mark, I don't think the Gators can win the game.
Oh, you're right. And that's where I'm coming from. They've got to be a little balanced. If Florida's key is going to be able to run the football because Emory Jones is still kind of doing the things he did in the first 2 games in the passing game, then it's over for Florida, because Bama's just going to load up and dare them to do what they got to do, and they're going to get pressure on Jones. Jones has not been good under pressure either. He seems to be pretty good on the rollout passes when he has some time, but when he's been under pressure, it hasn't been a good look. And, I would add one other thing, Drew.
Sure.
It is, just like you and Scott said about Todd Grantham, it's a big game for John Hevesy, too. This is his line. Again, 8 guys on this team have been in the program at least 3 years, and a few of them 5 years. So this is it. I mean, this is a big hit for him, because he is not recruiting well for the Gators, and the fans are going to be coming unglued if this offensive line doesn't perform.
Martin McLeod, the Gator Blitz daily program, and then also his new podcast, and I was honored to be a part of it, the Gridiron Growl. Great stuff. Enjoyed being with you and Jake there. And having a great conversation breaking down Alabama, Florida. But thank you for joining us, and let everybody know what you got coming up and how to connect with you.
Yeah, got a preview. You'll be able to find that on Twitter at McLeod Live. I'll have a link to it. And certainly check out the show. Another podcast with the Gator Blitz coming up later today. So probably around 4 o'clock today or first thing in the morning.
Good stuff, Mark. Thanks for the time.
Mark.
Thank you, guys. Always good to be on with you.
Let's get a break in. When we come back, tomorrow's headlines today.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
that should be clearing on that accident at Wall, Triana, and McCrary. That was our last reported accident. Traffic level heavy all across the valley. You be careful as you make the rest of your journey in this morning. Snelling needs an experienced shipper, a QA specialist, and production associates for South Huntsville. Direct hire positions with great benefits. 256-382-4000. Captain Nick in the North Parkway, Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
We know it's lonely at the top, but we don't mind.
National championship number 18. 13 in all. Absolute perfection.
Roll Tide. Join us Saturday as the Crimson Tide heads south to battle the Florida Gators in the SEC opener. Our coverage begins at 11:30 on your home for Bama football.
Listen to Alabama football all season long on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
If you need a car, McCurry Motors is ready to put you in a quality vehicle, and in-house financing is available. If you have a job, McCurry Motors will work with you even if you have a bankruptcy, divorce, or bad credit. Visit McCurrySaysYes.com. Every car comes with a warranty, and they report to the credit bureau. With 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens, call 256-230-0232, or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville. Call 256-713-0575.
What can you expect when you shop for a firearm at Bullet & Barrel? Expect great prices. We specialize in quality over quantity. Expect great service. Our professional sales staff is never pushy. We won't talk you into something that doesn't fit your needs. You have the right to make a smart, informed decision. Expect Bullet & Barrel, Alabama's only 5-star indoor shooting range, to support you after the sale. Bullet & Barrel, 3252 Lehman Ferry Road. Like or follow us on Facebook. Come see us soon.
If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
Brooks & Collier has always been about making the most of your outdoors. Our lush greenhouse and new furniture ideas will inspire you, but we're also about value. Our brands are so handsome, they'll make themselves comfortable inside or out, and so well made, they'll weather the weather for many years to come. Our staff can consult you on the right choices, and Lucy for sure can show us the sofa that's the most comfortable. Make the most of your outdoors. Meridian Street and at brooksandcollier.com.
Sitting here with Mark Kent of Southern Fidelity Mortgage Group of Huntsville. Mark, do you help pre-qualify people?
We pre-qualify people all the time, Wes. As a matter of fact, I love having them coming in here because when they come in and they pre-qualify, they can leave my office knowing exactly how much they can buy and have no worries.
Mark, tell me about your rates and pricing.
Well, Wes, this is something we're really, really proud of. Long story short is, I love being able to provide the best pricing in town. Honestly, I cannot tell you the last time I lost a deal to either rate or pricing, something I'm very proud of.
So what all financing options do you have, Mark?
We do several different things. If you're purchasing a home, we can handle the purchase. If you're wanting to refinance your home, of course, rates are at the lowest they've been in the last 3 years. We do a lot of refinancing. If you're building a home, we can handle the entire process from breaking ground to the final close.
Do you sleep with your phone?
Wes, if you want to reach me, you can call me at my office phone, which is 256-562-1000. But always remember, I sleep with my cell phone at night. That number is 256-656-5936.
This segment of Talkin Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com. It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
All right, Jordy. Jordy's in the house with us. Tomorrow's headlines today, 8:51, 74 degrees outside. Jordy, what you ringing in?
All right, so obviously we got the big game between Alabama and Florida over the weekend. And USA Today's Blake Toppenmeyer, he was basically talking about the quarterback situation. You guys were talking about the two quarterback situation going on right now, and he was basically saying that they should go ahead and make the choice to start Anthony Richardson over Emory Jones. And if they didn't do that, he compared it to a mistake the size of Kirby Smart back in 2018 with Georgia, not starting Justin Fields over Jake Fromm. So it's kind of a lofty comparison there, and obviously, but it's still a pretty interesting take because Florida, in my opinion, is probably going to get a mud hole stomped in them regardless. So you just go ahead and throw a dart at the board with Anthony Richardson there?
Well, I mean, he'll play. Unless this hamstring is worse than people are letting on, then if he doesn't play, Florida is in trouble. But he's certainly provided them with a spark, and he has a chance to give Alabama some problems with his athleticism and his arm. And there's limited film of him, so Alabama doesn't have a lot, but there is some, so they'll have a chance to prepare for him. Emory Jones, I've never been sold on as a passer. Alabama recruited him some, and then he ended up going to Florida. I do think his skill set fits Dan Mullen's offense, but I just have questions if he can hold on to this job, if he can throw the ball well enough. Richardson, you heard Jake Crain even say he thinks he will eventually take over this spot. Could it be Saturday if he's healthy enough? Potentially. Certainly he would have to have a Steven Garcia-type game for Florida to win the game, but we'll see. I still like Alabama 38-17. I think they're the better team. I think Mullen is – if Richardson is the guy, I think he can develop a squad around him, and I think in the future, if they recruit well enough, that they'll be good. But it was interesting that Mark McLeod is kind of – putting I guess kind of sounding an alarm a little bit, I guess is the best way for me to put it, that Florida's still not recruiting well enough under Dan Mullen, bringing up the offensive line coach John Hevesy, bringing up Todd Grantham. So, and right now they need to be, because there's just a state of just disaster in the state of Florida. Florida State is recruiting well under Mike Norvell right now, but they are pathetic.
Yep.
And then you've got Miami, who's better, but right now Florida has a chance to take control of that state, and the way you do it is to recruit, and you're in the most high-profile league. So Dan Mullen doesn't want to miss out on that opportunity.
All right, Jordy, next one.
All right, I just had to share this one because this is probably one of the most epic troll jobs I've seen in some time. All right, so every time a Tom Brady team wins, he'll go on social media and he'll post a video, and it's usually a highlight of the week that
You're
happened.
not going to like this because I know where this one is going.
and then they'll talk about the next game coming up.
Yes.
So the Bucs, they have the Atlanta Falcons next week, and and in the video Brady posts yesterday, if you look over his right-hand shoulder on a computer monitor,
I told you weren't going to like this.
It is time-stamped 3:28.
Yeah, of course it is. Biggest choke job in the history of the Super Bowl.
So obviously Tom poking a little fun at the Atlanta Falcons that blew the 28-3 lead at Super Bowl 51.
Yep. Dan Quinn and Kyle Shanahan will wear that the rest of their careers, unless Shanahan finally wins the Super Bowl, and I doubt he will because he's already choked another one away.
All right. Well, according to Fanatics,
yeah,
who has the best jersey right now? The number one selling jersey right now as of Sunday. Want to take a guess?
Overall, you're saying?
Yeah.
Pat Mahomes?
Well, the largest one-day spike of any player on Sunday with an increase of more than 500%. According to Fanatics, a leader for licensed sports merchandise, the number one jersey currently – Mac Jones.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, take a
New
guess.
England fans going nuts here.
Take a guess at who has number two.
Surely it's not
Jalen Hurts.
Bingo.
There you go. Yeah.
Jalen Hurts rose up. Jalen Hurts was way down the list, but after his performance on Sunday, Jalen Hurts has vaulted
the worst
to number
team in
two.
Football, the Atlanta Falcons.
Give him some credit.
No, he played well. I had said that. You can't say he didn't. I mean, the Atlanta Falcons are an abomination.
The question now is where Trevor Lawrence.
They're on the clock for the first pick.
Devontae Smith has the top-selling non-quarterback rookie jersey over the previous 2 days behind Jones and quarterback Trey Lance.
There you go. Smitty.
No Trevor Lawrence?
Do not see Trevor Lawrence in there.
He had such a great game on Sunday.
Threw 3 picks, the greatest of all time. Now, hey, I'm not saying he's not going to be great. Okay,
Right.
here. I mean, look,
Peyton Manning has the
28,
yes.
right?
Peyton Manning has
we're
the
not,
record.
We're not just panicking here.
Well, here's the question though: does Trevor Lawrence break Peyton Manning's interception record this year?
Peyton hopes so, because he's been begging somebody to break it.
We need to get Peyton then on the
Now,
broadcast.
but remember, Jameis Winston broke it, but not as a rookie. He threw 30 his last year with the Bucs, but he's looking pretty. I can't wait for him to play against the Bucs, man. What if he beats the Bucs and
throws like
the
four touchdowns and no interceptions?
Right. I mean, he looked like a different player under the quarterback whisperer Sean Payton against the pathetic Pack the other day. But I will say this: if this continues, the Pack may wish that they had just gone ahead and traded Aaron Rodgers because they look like that and even practice.
Who do the Falcons have on Sundays?
Who cares?
They had the Eagles, and they got drilled.
I'm talking about this coming Sunday. That's all the response we needed there.
And I've been a Falcons fan. I got Falcon stuff on my car, but they look awful. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, Chad, who do they play? Do you know?
Yeah, it's the Buccaneers.
Oh, no!
Good old Tom Brady going into Tampa Bay.
Oh, this will be 55-3.
Your expectations aren't very much, are you?
Yeah, they're not a whole lot. No, not a lot of high expectations here. I may have to give my shoes to Chad.
All right, well, I don't think he wants your shoes.
He couldn't fit them anyway. But I mean, God almighty.
Gosh, all right.
Thank you to Mark McLeod. Thank you to Jake Crain. Thank you everybody for listening today.
When are we having the garage sale? That's what I want to know.
I don't know.
We'll fill everybody in later on that.
Thanks, Jordan.